So here guys, I tried to see if Faramis is really a hard counter to Gloo. I would say yes because of two things. But he can't always counter Gloo. The timing is very important, and you'll see that in this game because I messed up the timing a few times and see what happens. There are a lot of things you should know and also learn in this video, not only the good things I did, but also my mistakes. Some people are also asking for a mage video, so this is it. I don't really play mid lane, but I enjoyed using Faramis. In this game, there was a trio on my team, Angela, Cho, and Carrie. Make sure to remember that. The enemy chip kept bothering our jungler here, so I went to him right away. And right from the start, Angela already messed up her first skill. I didn't need healing at that point. What she really needed to do was land her first skill on her enemy. But yeah, you can clearly tell she was just using auto-aim. So the main reason why Faramis is a hard counter to Gloo is because his second skill has bouncing damage. This means the more enemies there are, the higher the damage. And it's not just enemy heroes. It also includes minions and enemy summons, like the ones from Jask and Sun. That's why Faramis doesn't just counter Gloo. He also counters heroes with summons using just his second skill. That's just his second skill, guys. What more if you add his ultimate, which can counter a lot of heroes and skills? Chip used his ultimate on me here, but I was able to flicker away. Their marksman went into the portal and couldn't return to his lane right away because the portal got destroyed. So Carrie and Angela were left alone in the bottom lane. And Angela wouldn't leave Carrie alone, and they even overstayed in the bottom lane. They really did die there. How come a solo player ends up being stronger than the trio I always get as teammates? Yin has already used his ultimate on me several times here, but he still can't kill me. And look at Faramis's damage here. It's all because of Gloo. One of the few things that changed with the revamped Gloo is that when he splits into goos, they no longer die from Faramis's second skill. That's why Vexana is no longer a counter to Gloo. I haven't tested it yet, but I think that's the case. Because for Vexana's passive to work, the marked target needs to die first. Someone can confirm that in the comment section. Gloo is much harder to counter now than before. The reason he has a lot of counters is because of the time when he splits into many goos. That's when Spell Vamp and many other skills can counter him. The problem now is he can easily stack enemies with just a first and second skill combo, then immediately use his ultimate. That's why the goos stay on the field for such a short time. And that's exactly what you should do if the enemy team has counters against you. Yin used his ultimate on me again here. Have you even counted how many times he's already used it on me? He never learns. And by the way, Yin was actually the mid laner for the enemy team in this game. I don't know what happened to their lineup. It's kind of a mess. But the enemy also had a trio, so I think Yin was the solo player. Dark System was the solo on their side, while on our team, the trio was Dark System. So that's a lot worse than the enemy's setup. This part was my mistake. I didn't wait for Gloo's second skill before using mine, so he was able to stack me. If Chu hadn't shown up, Gloo would have used his ultimate on me, and I'm pretty sure if that happened, I'd have to run for my life because I know Cho would finish me off. And that actually does happen later in this game, so I was just lucky this time. After Cho escaped Yin's ultimate, he dashed toward Yin and ended up dying because of his own foolishness. It wasn't because I didn't use my ultimate. It would have been a waste on him anyway. He wasn't contributing much. And his trio Angela didn't even care about him. She was only focused on Carrie. Ah, that's just sad. Anyways, what I really like about Faramis is his passive. He can collect stacks by hitting enemies with his second skill, including summons. It can reach up to 40 stacks, and each stack increases your magic power and reduces your respawn time by 3%. So when you die, your stacks are consumed to reduce the respawn time, but only up to 30 stacks can be used, which means your respawn time can be reduced by up to 90%. That's a huge deal, especially when you need to get back into the game quickly. The respawn is so fast that I don't even need to use my recall technique anymore. This is exactly what you need to avoid when using Faramis against Gloo. That's why I said timing is so important. I messed up the timing several times in this game. I didn't mean to get my teammate killed there, but if it was Angela, it's fine even if she died. And Cho was so eager to avenge his trio that he ended up playing like a fool. Imagine running away as fast as you can from your own dumb teammates just to avoid getting killed because of them. And another thing Faramis's passive does when collecting stacks is it heals you. That's a huge help because most of the time, I don't even need to go back to base. The downside is, his skills consumes a lot of mana, so you'll need this emblem and this item to avoid running out. Aside from mana sustain, they also give you high cooldown reduction and extra damage. Here we go again. I had to run away from my own teammates and even use my flicker. They're so high IQ, I just had to distance myself. I couldn't keep up with their brilliance. And Faramis' ultimate is really powerful during team fights. It's so good that it's been nerfed several times. When you use your ultimate and the enemy manages to burst it down, Gloo's stacks disappear. That's why, if you're using Gloo, you should activate your ultimate before Faramis pops his, especially if there's a chance it'll get burst quickly. But here's another reason why Faramis is a great counter to Gloo. If Gloo latches onto you or a teammate and you use your ultimate, then the enemy bursts down your ultimate. There's a 1.3 second window where you or your teammate won't take any damage, but you can still target Gloo during that time. That means Gloo takes damage, while the one he ulted doesn't. I'm not sure if you noticed it, but that actually happened a few times in this game. I'll show it more clearly later. So yeah, we're going to win this game, and Faramis is definitely a solid counter to Gloo. It really makes Gloo uncomfortable, but again, it still depends on who's using the hero and on timing. Remember the trio? Here they are. All three of them ended up with silver, getting carried by the solo players. Have some shame. And Cho even had the nerve to trash talk the enemy. So even though Gloo is in the EXP lane, I don't really suggest using Faramis in the EXP lane just to counter him. He's still much better in mid lane or even as a roamer, because once Gloo builds magic defense items like Athena's shield or radiant armor, Faramis won't be able to burst him down anymore. And that's when it's Gloo's turn to take control. And Faramis is really best played in the mid lane because he can clear minion waves quickly and rotate around the map fast. He's much more valuable in team fights, which is why he's not ideal for the EXP lane, where 1v1 fights happen most of the time. You're usually alone there and can't help your teammates, so you won't be able to maximize what Faramis can do. In this game, I ended up as the roamer. I didn't want to play that role, but my teammates didn't adjust, so I had no choice. But Faramis is still viable as a roamer, especially when there's a Gloo on the enemy team. I tried to save Kimmy here, but it still wasn't enough. When you use Faramis' first skill, it actually increases the range of your second skill, and it makes easier to collect the soul fragments dropped by enemies. And if you're able to get close to them after using your first skill, go for it, because you can hook them when you do that. This is what I was talking about. If Gloo manages to stack you, and you don't have your ultimate ready, there's really nothing you can do, even if you're technically a hard counter to him. And a lot of Gloo users actually play smart. They wait for you to use your second skill first before using theirs. Or they just go for the fast combo, because once Gloo pops his ultimate, that's when he's at his happiest. But as you saw there, if Faramis' ultimate is available, it really puts Gloo in a tough spot, because while he's using his ultimate on an enemy, he still takes damage, but the one he latched onto doesn't. Kimmy was way too aggressive here. She flickered in with low HP right in front of an assassin who can literally counter her with just a first skill. The marksman was also way too aggressive, but none of their skills were even landing. Our marksman teammates in this game were just unbelievably strong. Honestly, they were the ones who carried the enemy team, and that's why they ended up winning. I tried to save Kimmy again here, but look at what she did. She flickered in again with low HP. I didn't expect that kind of move from her at all, which is why my ultimate didn't land in time. Like seriously, what are they doing? Both of our fighters were dead at this point, and I was with two marksmen. We still could have won that fight, but what I don't get is, why did our marksman split away from us? He could have just stuck with us, especially knowing I had my ultimate ready to save them. Their positioning is always terrible. Kimmy was just tapping her basic attacks when she could have just long pressed it. Gloo doesn't even have high mobility, so there's no reason not to. She clearly just wants to rely on auto-aim, and we didn't realize Clint's damage is already too much.